New Jersey has real laws on the books about pickles, bingo, and ice cream, and you already know that none of them stop corruption, traffic, or your property taxes going up. This state has spent decades outlawing the weirdest, most unnecessary behaviors imaginable, usually because something incredibly stupid happened one time, and instead of fixing the situation, Jersey said, "All right, this one's going on the books." Today, we're diving into the dumbest laws on the books in New Jersey, where the logic is gone and the explanation always starts with, "So back in the 30s, there was this moron named Tony." These are all real, recorded laws with real penalties and real New Jersey logic. Let's start in Trenton because, of course, this nonsense starts in our very own state capital, the place where laws are born and then immediately forgotten in a desk drawer full of dead pens and old Snickers wrappers that have been there since Christie was in office. Historically, Trenton has a real written down law that says you cannot eat pickles on Sunday. On the Lord's Day, God apparently looked down and said, "Thou shalt rest, and if I see a cucumber soaking in vinegar, I'm calling the SWAT team." Imagine being arrested like, "Sir, do you know why I pulled you over?" No, you were guzzling that dildozer like it owed you money. And it gets better. You also weren't allowed to dump spoiled pickles in the street, which tells me this law wasn't preventive. It was reactive. This wasn't born from logic. This came from a hot Trenton summer where the roads were covered in rotten pickles like a Nickelodeon slime incident. Just barrels leaking brine, horses slipping, and some guy yelling, "Who keeps dumping pickles on my sidewalk?" This is classic Jersey problem solving. Not let's regulate food waste. Nah, they said, ban pickles on Sundays. That'll fix it. No one even knows the punishment. Probably a fine. Or worse, you have to gobble the pickle in front of City Hall on Monday while everyone watches you. Today, it's unenforced, but technically, somewhere in Trenton history, there's a cop who ruined someone's weekend over a Vlasic spear. And that sets the tone for the rest of this list, because when your capital city declares war on pickles, you know the rest of these laws are gonna be unhinged. Let's talk about Manville, a random Somerset County town that to this day has an ordinance on the books that forbids giving zoo animals tobacco and getting them drunk. Apparently in 1930s Manville, the biggest threats to public safety were the whiskey-fueled zebras trampling people in the street. Lawmakers literally sat down and said, "Listen, we gotta stop people from getting the giraffes hammered." The only conclusion I can draw is that this wasn't a preventative measure. There was definitely a very notorious dude in town. Picture 1930s Jersey. Some guy named Sal shows up with a bottle and a lucky strike, trying to peer pressure a lemur into taking a shot with him. They don't tell him, "Hey Sal, don't do that." They write it into municipal code like it's a recurring issue, like every summer he does this, we gotta get ahead of it. Nobody even knows the punishment for breaking this law. Probably a fine, or a very stern talk from a cop who can't believe this is his assignment. "Sir, step away from the llama with the Marlboro." Now here's the best part. Manville doesn't even have a zoo, and it never really did. No giraffes, lions, or elephants with drinking problems. All this effort, all this legal paperwork, and zero animals to protect. That's New Jersey in a nutshell. We don't wait for the chaos to happen. We preemptively outlaw it, just in case someone tries to give a llama some booze again. Now let's head down the shore to Sea Isle City, where at one point in history, the town father stood up and said, "Enough is enough. Stop boiling bones in your backyard." That's a real law. You are not allowed to boil animal bones or human ones on your property. You know some colonial witch named Agatha was pissed about this one, standing over her cauldron like, "Great, one complaint and now I'm the problem." Because let's be honest, nobody hears boiling bones in the yard and thinks, "Ah yes, a nice broth." That's more like your weird neighbor standing over a bubbling pot muttering, "Almost ready," while the HOA calls an exorcist.
This law goes back to times when public health rules were basically vibes-based. No science, just smell. Some dude walked past a yard, caught a whiff of hot pig femur and went, Yeah, nah, absolutely not. And boom, ordinance passed. Picture 1800s Sea Isle, a peaceful little beach town. Then one family is out back, slow cooking a raccoon, like this is normal behavior. Yeah, town meeting immediately.
Now, sure, it was technically about sanitation, but let's not pretend that wasn't the most polite way of saying, please stop doing medieval shit near my house. No one's been arrested for it in modern times, but legally, if you fire up a cauldron today and start reducing bones in your backyard, you're a town meeting agenda item. Now listen, this next law, it's gonna be unpopular. Lots of New Jerseyans defend it, and I get it, I really do. The no pumping your own gas rule in New Jersey sounds nice on paper. You stay in the car, it's cold out, someone else does the work. Jobs are protected, you don't smell like unleaded for the rest of the day. Great, beautiful. Round of applause for convenience. But let's be real, this law says you, a licensed adult who can vote, buy fireworks, and legally operate a 4,000-pound vehicle at 80 miles per hour, cannot be trusted with a gas pump, a handle with one button and a picture on it. If you even touch a gas pump in Jersey, you instantly summon a Middle Eastern man who starts screaming at you about how you're ruining his livelihood. There's a $50 to $250 fine for any gas station owners who allow this, with subsequent fines of up to $500. And the real nightmare is the wait. You pull in, it's 70 degrees and sunny, and the attendant is hitting a weed pen in the bathroom while scrolling Facebook reels. You're sitting there like a hostage, eye contact with another driver, both of you silently wondering who's gonna snap first. Meanwhile, in the other 49 states, people are already home, showered, and eating dinner. It turns gas stations into these weird social experiments. The attendants arguing with one car, ignoring another, and you're trapped, staring at the pump like it's the forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden. This law maybe made sense in 1949, but today, I'm a firm believer Jersey could go without it. All right, this next one is dumb, but not in a cartoon villain dumb kind of way, more like deeply embarrassing that it exists in the first place. Let's talk about Newark, where the city decided to pass a law saying ice cream requires armed backup from the Marine Corps. I'm serious. Newark has an ordinance requiring ice cream vendors, trucks, carts, parlors to have a security guard on duty after 4 p.m. if they've got a decent-sized outdoor seating area. We're not talking clubs or bars, we're talking ice cream, sprinkles, chocolate syrup, perhaps the most harmless activity left on Earth. And look, there's context. In the 80s, vendors were getting robbed. Stuff happened. I get it. Safety matters. Totally fair. But the fact that the solution was, all right, we need a dude with an AR-15 posted next to the mint chocolate chip is insane. Because now the visual is unavoidable. You've got kids holding dripping cones, couples arguing over toppings, and standing there is a dude in a security jacket, arms crossed, scanning the block like someone might make a move on the rocky road. Nothing kills the vibe faster than a Glock next to a SpongeBob popsicle. This law basically admits, yes, even happiness is a high-risk activity here. You're not just getting dessert, you're entering a police state. One wrong look at the sprinkles and someone's getting tackled to the ground. The fines are up to $1,000 per day for not posting a guard over ice cream. That's Newark saying, if you're gonna sell smiles after sunset, you better bring backup. Next, I welcome you to Hoboken, where on Sundays you go to federal prison if you partake in bingo before 1 p.m. That's right. If you're in Hoboken on a Sunday morning and you try to yell B12 before lunchtime, congratulations, you're a criminal. This city said, listen, brunch first, then you can gamble with Nana. Okay, that's a slight exaggeration. But anyone who runs a game of chance for a cash prize before 1 p.m. on Sundays can be fined up to $1,000 or given 90 days in jail. Picture the scene. It's 12:30 p.m. in a church basement, a room full of senior citizens just itching to get their gambling fix. Mildred leans over and whispers, "Are we starting too early?" And suddenly, boom, SWAT kicks the door in. Step away from the table with your hands up. This law dates back to the 1970s, when blue laws were everywhere and Jersey needed a quiet Sunday morning before any form of gambling started acting up. Not just bingo, this law includes all games of chance for money. And the funniest part is that Hoboken is now a city where people black out before noon, but bingo before 1 p.m. is where they draw the line. You can do bottomless mimosas, you can do day drinking, you can scream in the street, but you cannot respectfully gamble with felt tip markers until the clock says so. But hey, I guess it's good they're tackling the real problems. So far on this list, certain activities being outlawed on Sundays seems to be a common theme, and that includes buying or selling a car. That's illegal. Straight up, walk onto a dealership lot on a Sunday and try to buy a vehicle, and suddenly you're committing a disorderly person's offense like you tried to sell fireworks out of a trunk. This law has been around since the 1930s, back when Sunday was for church, family, and absolutely no negotiating APRs. A dealer's first offense comes with fines and potential jail time. If they repeat it, they can mess with your dealer license. And look, some dealers love this. Forced day off. No customers, no tire kickers asking, "What's your best price?" at 6:58 p.m. I get it, but from the customer side, it's a bit insane. One of 2 days, most people have enough time to spend 6 hours negotiating, and they show up and the doors are locked, and you're standing there staring through the glass at a Honda Accord like it's a museum exhibit. You are not allowed to want this today. You are still allowed to buy cars online, and private sales are fair game too. Totally cool. But only in New Jersey do we still enforce colonial rules on modern purchases. You can gamble, drink, smoke pot, but try to buy a car on Sunday and the state goes, absolutely not. Reflect and repent. Finally, in the state of New Jersey, it is illegal to sell handcuffs to minors. That's a real statute. A grown adult cannot legally sell a 16-year-old a pair of law enforcement-style cuffs. And before anyone says it, yes, we know why. Kids are complete and utter idiots. Totally fair. But the fact that this had to be written down is what's funny. Because this law exists because somewhere, at some point, a kid had handcuffs and things went sideways. Not oops, sideways. Court date sideways. You already know a kid got handcuffed to a playground swing and just had to accept his fate. The penalty isn't cute. It's a disorderly person's offense with up to 6 months in jail. Plus, if a cop finds handcuffs on a minor, they don't ask questions. They just take them like contraband. When this law was passed in 1991, there must have been a wave of suburban kids running around doing citizens' arrests. Little Kevin from Paramus handcuffing a Walmart employee to the shopping cart because he wouldn't accept his return without a receipt. This law basically just admits that teenagers cannot be trusted with fake authority. And honestly, that might be the most reasonable law on this list. So there you have it. New Jersey's dumbest laws, still on the books, still technically enforceable, and somehow nobody thought to clean them up. Drop a comment with the dumbest law we missed. Share the video and subscribe, because New Jersey isn't getting any less insane, and neither are we.